Today's video is really important. The UK government has just announced big immigration updates that officially kick in this July over the next few months. They are calling it a complete reset, focusing on reducing numbers, tightening work visas, closing some humanitarian routes, and making students' visa tougher too. So, if you're already in the UK, planning to apply, or even just exploring options, stay tuned because I'll break it down in clear, simple terms. What's changing, when it starts, who it affects, and why it's happening. It's based on the latest official statements, Home Office documents, and professional analysis. Before we dive into details, let's talk quickly about why the government is doing this. In the last year, net immigration stayed historically high, and just this year, from January to June 2025, almost 20,000 people arrived on small boats crossing the channel. That's about a 50% increase compared to the same period in 2024. There's been a huge media and political pressure to reduce numbers. So in May, the government published a big white paper called Restoring Control over the Immigration System. It set out a plan to focus on higher skilled migration, raise salary thresholds, tighten asylum and family routes, and close or change humanitarian schemes. So, what we are seeing now are the first major steps from that plan, and more changes will likely come later this summer. Now, let's start with the most impactful part, the skilled worker visa. From 22nd of July 2025, if you are applying for a new skilled worker visa, your job must be at RQF level 6 or higher. This basically means roles that usually require a bachelor's degree, and the minimum salary threshold will increase from £38,700 to £41,700 per year. Many jobs that were previously on the list, about 180 to 200 occupations, will no longer be eligible. Examples include care home deputies without management qualifications, some admin roles, and lower level supervisory positions. This change doesn't apply retroactively. So, if you're already in the UK on a skilled worker visa and just need an extension, or you're switching jobs within the same level or bringing dependents, the old rules still apply. Honestly, this is huge for many people, especially those in care, hospitality, and admin. It closes the door completely. For employers, it also means higher recruitment costs and a smaller talent pool. For anyone planning to apply, check your job's new skill classification and salary band before July 22nd. If you qualify under current rules, you might still have time to apply. Now, the government knows that some sectors urgently need staff, so they are creating a temporary shortage list valid until the end of 2026. Jobs on this list will include HRO officers, IT technicians, debt collection agents, mortgage administrators, creative roles like set designers, artists, and some social media related positions. After 2026, these roles might stay on the list only if employers prove that they are training UK residents to fill them. So if you are in one of these roles, you could come in, but the window is limited, and the government clearly expects employers to train local talent. So don't rely on the list lasting forever. Another very controversial update is the closure of Afghan relocations and assistance policy, the ARAP. From 1st of July 2025, no new principal applications are accepted. Family referrals can still happen, and existing applications already submitted will still be processed. Since it began, Arab helped over 21,000 Afghans resettle in the UK, plus around 12,800 through the Afghan Citizen Resettlement Scheme. Many charities and human rights groups are saying that closing Arab was sudden and unfair, especially for people still in danger. If you or anyone you know was preparing to apply, sadly that route has now closed except for family reunion. Let's move to some updates affecting students and EU nationals. For graduate visa, duration has been cut from 2 years to 18 months. This means there is less time to find work and switch to a long-term visa. While for the EU settlement scheme, which is meant to commence from the 16th of July 2025, people with pre-settled status can apply for settled status after 30 months of UK residence. The time doesn't have to be consecutive. Good news if you're in that group because it removes uncertainty. Then, for restricted leave, if your asylum or humanitarian claim is refused, you can't switch to another visa route like work or study. This tightens the system so people can't stay by changing category. So, this whole thing may seem small, but they affect thousands of real people, especially international students who might now feel more pressure to quickly secure a sponsored job. The government isn't stopping here. According to the white paper, more changes are expected later this summer, which would include higher English language test requirements, extending the time before you can get your permanent residence, that's your ILRO, from 5 to 10 years. Yes, you heard me right. So there is going to come in place tougher asylum rules, possible new deportation powers, even for lower level offences. These are still proposals though, but they could be law by the end of 2025. From my own point of view, as someone who came here as an overseas professional, these changes make it much harder for new migrants, especially in sectors like care. The focus is now clearly on higher salaries and higher qualifications. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but it will definitely take more planning, preparation, and money. If you're thinking of migrating, check your occupation's new status, get your credentials recognized, talk to a qualified immigration advisor. For students, start looking early for employers who can sponsor you before your graduate visa expires or ends. The summary of all this is that skilled worker visas now target higher skilled, higher and higher paid roles. Certain roles are temporarily allowed, but the list will shrink. Afghan resettlement is effectively closed. Students and EU settlement rules are tightening, and there is more to come. Immigration landscape is shifting quickly and not in an easy direction, but staying informed is going to help you make smarter choices. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and share it with someone who might need it. And as always, drop your questions or share your story in the comments. I love reading them and it helps others too. Thanks so much for watching. Stay informed, stay strong, and see you in the next video.